This law isn't about morality, it's about optics. Keep your hands clean. In the game of power, perception is reality. And if you're seen as dirty, careless, or ruthless, people start building walls.
But here's the twist. Power requires dirty work. Decisions that hurt, moves that displace, actions that trigger consequences. So the question becomes, who takes the fall?
Exactly. Robert Greene isn't telling you to avoid hard decisions. He's telling you to protect your appearance while making them, to keep your name intact, even when the system you're running is sharp and ruthless underneath.
And that means building buffers, creating distance, using intermediaries, fall guys, scapegoats, not to avoid responsibility, but to preserve influence.
Because once people associate your name with pain, punishment, or loss, even if it was necessary, their trust fades, power leaks, and you become less persuasive in every room.
This law is about plausible deniability, staying clean while the job gets done. And that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, especially those who value transparency over tact.
But power doesn't reward transparency. It rewards effectiveness with elegance. You can make hard moves as long as you don't leave fingerprints.
And we see this everywhere. Politicians rarely fire people directly. CEOs don't lay off thousands face-to-face. They delegate, they distance, not because they're cowards, but because proximity to pain damages authority.
That's the dark brilliance of this law. You're still pulling strings, but from behind the curtain. The audience sees the performance, not the machinery.
And to do that well, you need discretion, you need loyalty, you need people around you who understand their role and who trust that you'll protect them after they absorb the heat.
Because if you burn your buffers, you expose yourself. The art is in shielding your name while still commanding the outcome.
And that's not deception, that's design. The powerful rarely appear involved, they appear untouched. That's how they stay in play, while others fall around them. Let's bring this to real life. This isn't just about kings and CEOs. It happens in offices, startups, even friendships. Every time there's a problem, someone has to carry the blame.
And if you're smart, that someone isn't you. You can lead the solution, direct the outcome, but protect your image. That's the heart of this law.
In corporate settings, we see this all the time. Leaders set aggressive goals, create the pressure, and when it goes wrong, it's the middle manager who gets fired, not the executive who designed the impossible.
Exactly. The real architect stays clean, publicly supportive, internally distanced. That's what allows them to survive multiple crises and still rise.
Even in personal relationships, this shows up. People with high emotional intelligence know how to influence decisions without owning the consequences.
They suggest, they imply, they guide. But when the fallout hits, it's someone else's name on the result. Subtle power moves and clean hands.
Now, let's be clear. This isn't about cowardice. It's about preservation. Power dies when it's seen as cruel or reckless, and in a culture obsessed with accountability, the appearance of innocence is a strategy.
Because perception is everything. You could have the purest motives, but if the outcome is messy and your name is attached, people start distancing from you.
This law invites you to act through layers, to create space between intention and execution. You don't deny involvement, you just don't expose it.
That's what makes this law so nuanced. It's not asking you to avoid action, it's asking you to reframe it. Let others execute, let others announce. You stay above it.
And when people come looking for accountability, they won't find you in the chaos. They'll find you calm, composed, the one offering solutions, not confessions.
That's how power survives storms, not by being untouched, but by appearing untouched.
It's image management at a high level, and if you want longevity in any power game, business, politics, leadership, this is a non-negotiable skill. So let's get tactical. How do you actually keep your hands clean while still getting what you want? It starts with understanding the value of intermediaries.
Yes, the buffer, the messenger, the fixer, the one who carries the weight of the action while you carry none of the fallout.
Historically, kings had ministers. CEOs have chiefs of staff. Even celebrities have publicists. Power is insulated, and that insulation isn't luxury, it's strategy.
Because when you act directly, you leave a trail. But when others move on your behalf, the trail fades. It becomes indirect, deniable, cleaner.
This also applies to conflict. Never engage in public battles unless absolutely necessary. Use proxies. Let others challenge. Let others confront. You stay elevated.
And when hard conversations must happen about cuts, betrayal, exit strategies, delegate it. Not because you're weak, but because your presence should remain above the noise.
Another key? Never gloat when things go your way through someone else's loss. Stay gracious, humble. Let the power move appear like coincidence or policy, not personal intention.
Because if you look like you're enjoying someone else's downfall, you become a villain. And villains, even when powerful, are always on borrowed time.
The perfect execution of this law is invisible. People follow you, respect you, even love you, but they don't see your fingerprints on the harsh outcomes.
And that's why many powerful people play the reluctant leader. They project compassion, humility, even ignorance, all while pulling strings behind the curtain.
Let's be honest, there's a performance here, but it's a necessary one. In leadership, how you're seen often matters more than what you actually do.
So the smartest players master contrast. Their hands appear clean because someone else took the risk, the blame, or the stain, and that someone else was placed there with intention.
And here's the twist. That someone else often knows. They're not always pawns. Sometimes they're loyal operatives, people who believe in the mission enough to absorb heat.
That's why loyalty matters. You don't burn your buffers. You protect them privately, even if they fall publicly. It's part of the code.
Let's shift to what happens when you ignore this law, when you touch everything directly, when your name is tied to every uncomfortable move.
You start to accumulate stains, not always in the moment, but over time. A reputation forms. People start saying things like, he's harsh, she's ruthless. They always seem involved in drama.
And the sad part? You might just be decisive. You might be efficient, but if you don't protect the optics, the story gets rewritten, and you lose your influence.
Because power is fragile when it's resisted, and if people associate you with pain, even necessary pain, they start avoiding you. You become toxic, even if you're right.
It's like leadership gravity reverses. Instead of drawing people in, your presence creates tension, resentment, caution.
Think of political scandals. Sometimes the decision was sound, economically or structurally, but because the leader's fingerprints were all over it, they took the fall. Not the policy, not the system, the person.
And that's what this law warns against, being personally linked to decisions that, while necessary, cost you public trust.
Even in teams, if you take credit and deliver bad news directly, people will never forget the bad news. But if someone else delivers it and you appear thoughtful, regretful, strategic, they process it differently.
So the key is distance, not detachment, not indifference, but strategic distance. Enough to influence without being the target.
Because once you become the face of every hard call, you stop being seen as a leader and start being seen as a weapon. And weapons are feared, not followed.
And here's another trap, over-explaining. When people try to clean their image after the fact, justifying, clarifying, talking too much, it almost always backfires.
Exactly. Once perception turns, logic doesn't reverse it. Emotion does, and emotion responds to presentation, not explanation.
So the real masters of this law think before they act. They ask, what will this look like, not just what will this do? That's a different level of leadership.
And it separates those who lead for a season from those who lead for decades.
There's a question we need to address. Is this law manipulative? Is keeping your hands clean just a fancy way of saying, let others suffer while you stay safe?
Not necessarily. The intention isn't cruelty, it's sustainability. Power fades fast when you're constantly absorbing damage. Staying clean protects your ability to act again.
Exactly. Because if you're emotionally wrecked or publicly resented after every decision, how long can you really lead? This law is about longevity, not avoidance.
And it doesn't mean hiding. It means being calculated. You know when to show up and when to stay in the background, when to speak and when to let others carry the message.
There's also emotional discipline in this. Leaders who need to be the hero, who always jump in, who always take responsibility, burn out. They absorb too much.
And over time, their presence becomes associated with chaos or collapse, even if they're the ones holding things together.
That's the irony. The cleaner you stay, the more trust you preserve. And the more trust you preserve, the more people will follow you, even if they never see the hard decisions behind the scenes.
Because at some point, leadership isn't about being visible, it's about being consistent, quietly present, thoughtfully positioned, and always one step removed from the dirt.
This is where reputation becomes capital. If you're seen as calm, fair, balanced, people assume your decisions are sound, even if they don't understand the mechanics.
But the moment your name gets tied to destruction, deserved or not, your capital erodes fast, and no apology campaign can fully rebuild it.
So the lesson here isn't hide behind people, it's design the system, build in layers, anticipate pressure points, let your influence travel without always revealing its source.
And when fallout comes, because it always does, you have buffers, loyal ones who understand their role, ones you protect too.
That's the ethical balance. Don't abuse the people who take hits for you. Empower them, acknowledge them privately, reward them, because without them, your hands wouldn't stay clean for long.
True power isn't just about getting what you want, it's about protecting your capacity to keep doing it, without becoming the villain of your own story.
So to wrap this law, let's be clear. Keeping your hands clean isn't about being passive, it's about being architectural. You design your role, your image, your influence, all with intention.
Because influence doesn't just come from action, it comes from what people associate your name with. If you're seen as the cleaner, the fixer, the one who restores order, you gain long-term credibility.
But if your name gets linked to too much destruction, even if justified, people withdraw, not because they hate you, but because you feel dangerous.
Power that feels dangerous becomes unstable. You can still win, but your wins come with fear, resistance, or isolation.
That's why the great power players stay clean. They insulate, they delegate, they make the move, but rarely hold the knife in public.
And the irony? Sometimes the people who look the cleanest have been the most involved. They just mastered distance and built layers that shield their intent.
This is why storytelling matters. Narrative, framing, reputation. You're not just playing the game, you're curating the audience's memory of you.
If you want to last in power, especially in leadership, you can't be the face of every decision. You can't be seen bleeding every time something breaks.
Because perception compounds. Over time, your image becomes your leverage or your liability, and keeping your hands clean is one of the few ways to preserve that image.
It takes awareness, restraint, strategy, and a deep understanding of how people remember moments, not facts.
So the question becomes, what role are you playing in your own story? The hammer, the shield, or the invisible architect?
Next week, we dive into a very different kind of control. Law 27, play on people's need to believe. It's about illusion, belief, and how faith, not facts, often decides who holds the power.
But until then, remember, you can be firm, you can be decisive, you can even be ruthless, just don't be seen that way.
Because in power, survival isn't just about the moves you make, it's about the fingerprints you don't leave behind.